Because it's desirable. In Zimbabwe, so many people have actually done that. We've moved from where people were using those creams from Zambia and they were banned and all of that. And people were using those pills to enlarge their hips. If you recall, that was like a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it's just advancing. Now, so we're now just advancing. We've moved on from the less safer looking ones, and we now have spas that do your... Hey guys, this is Anesu, aka Nyati Shonga.
Hello, my name is Chido, aka Chizzy. Wagwan, Advocate Amanda here. Hi everyone, this is Kuda, aka Cooks. Hi, and welcome to As Told by Us, the podcast. This is a weekly podcast where 4 professional millennials discuss living in Zimbabwe and trying to figure life out.
Someone once told us the grass is much greener on the other side.
But from where we're standing, our grass is green. Subscribe, like, share, comment down below.
I've always felt unattractive, even though I've been told a lot that that's untrue. I've never had trouble finding partners, but I do feel like a lot of them didn't see me as a girlfriend material because I'm not as thin as I should be for my height. I've always had more than a couple incidences where someone I loved told me I was gaining weight or I looked pudgy or something along those lines. I used to hate my thighs because thick thighs were not desirable. Somebody made a comment. Pretty much all the societal pressure to be skinny, yada yada. Bottom line is I'm uncomfortable with my body. Even my own mother has been one of the people to say that I looked fat in something before. When I was a teenager, I was comfortable wearing a bikini, and as I was sitting on the ground in the pool, drying off from the pool. I was sitting on the ground in the sun, drying off from the pool, and my mom made a comment about my belly in front of some other family and my younger brother and his friend. I was so humiliated, and that stuck with me. One day, as I was coming down the stairs, she said, "You look skinny," to which I gave an uncomfortable thanks, with my brother and his friend looking back and forth between us. My mom followed up with, "Did you lose weight?" And I just started walking away, and I said, "I'm not entertaining these questions." And now I'm locked in my bedroom, like when I was a teenager, just feeling gross and having lost my appetite. I've not lost weight. In fact, I've gained weight, and it just felt so rude, especially considering any time she ever mentioned my weight or appearance in the past, I've always shut down and gotten upset. It's like she doesn't care. As I walked away, I heard her scoff and say something about me being grumpy. At 28 years old, many times telling her I don't appreciate her comments, she still makes them. It feels very backhanded even when she tries to compliment me in that regard.
Is that a compliment? Is that a compliment? Like when somebody says,
"You look skinny."
"Oh, like you look skinny." Like, is that something that you guys take as compliments? Like,
especially when you've actually gained weight. That's what she said, right?
That's wild.
I think I don't enjoy the need or this overbearing need that a lot of people in our community would have to point out or highlight aspects of someone's body or how they look, to say, "Oh, you're fat, you're skinny." Why do we need to name that in the moment? I think sometimes it makes it hard for someone who's trying to get over certain insecurities when the people around you are the ones who always point it out and bring it back in your face. And if you're struggling enough already, then it becomes difficult. But I think now the dilemma here is that this person is your mother. This is the environment that you're in. So what do you say to somebody like that without, denying that that's the experience, but that's what it is?
I actually think our parents' generation take these things too far. I feel like they lack empathy and they don't actually understand that that's an insecurity that lots of people have, especially younger people. I find that it's such a Zimbabwean greeting to talk about somebody's weight or their skin. It's always like, oh, mazono wafuta, oh, ashawonda, which means you've either gained weight or you've lost weight. And it's always, hi, you've gained weight. Hi, you're darker now. What's wrong with your skin? You're skinny now. What's wrong? You know, like it has become just such a greeting, and it's been normalized. But I find that it normally happens with the generation above us, and not so. I mean, obviously, people our age also take the piss, but I definitely feel it's more so with the mothers, and I maybe think it's a projection on her mom's part, where her mom is probably not happy with her own body, and she says these things to make either herself feel better, like, okay, listen, I'm big, but my daughter's bigger. Or I'm skinny, but my daughter, have you seen my daughter? She's skinnier. So it becomes like a projection thing, and it's not a compliment. I don't know why people think talking about my weight is a compliment. Even if I go to the gym, like I find that sometimes you can go to the gym and people know you're gymming, so they want to say, oh, you look nice. Oh, you've lost weight. Why? Leave it alone. I will know what's on the scale. I will know how many inches I've dropped. It's not your business. Leave it alone.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's the toxic auntie vibe for a lot of Zimbabweans. And it has nothing to do with you, whether I gain weight or lose weight. And it even like goes into, I think it's an obsession with women's bodies specifically, because it's, have you gained weight? Have you lost weight? What did you do to your hair? Are you having a child soon? It's so weird. Like, those are the questions people feel comfortable to ask women in our society. And it's very sad. I have no idea how I would be able to deal with it coming from my mother, who's someone who's supposed to love me unconditionally, and they're telling me you're either overweight or underweight, you need to do something about that and all of that. I guess maybe you just need to talk to her, sit her down and talk to her about how it makes you feel and what body shaming actually is. Because I feel like lots of people don't even know that concept. They don't know that talking about someone's body image can be very traumatic for someone.
But she also says she's tried. She said many times I've told her I don't appreciate the comments, and she still makes them. So what do you do then? I've tried telling you. I've tried.
What she's done is the way forward. You just need to set your boundaries. If you're going to talk about that, I'm not going to engage you, and I'm not going to talk to you for that time being. Because you have to remove yourself from that situation. So I guess what she's doing now is kind of helpful.
I think another aspect that comes out is that this girl also doesn't like her body quite a lot. And I think that's a problem that we can't ignore, because one, it also exacerbates the extent to which you feel like everybody is looking at and judging you. And it also, because I don't know how you feel about it, but I believe if you don't like something, fix it, because clearly it's an issue. And sometimes, I don't know, to give these aunties credit, it is also coming from a place of, you know, there's something unhealthy that you're doing. You know, someone needs to, I think a lot of people who do that kind of body shaming also kind of feel like someone needs to say it. I don't know why they feel that way, but I think it comes from a place of, well, how come you're not doing anything about, you know, something that you're feeling insecure about? What do you guys think of that? Do you think it puts too much pressure on the victim, or it's fair enough to say that, well, you know, if you're not happy with your body, then maybe, you know, look into it?
Look into it how?
Go to the gym. Put some effort into changing the things that you don't like. I think it becomes that, and then some people go as far as like corrective surgeries of things like that. That kind of concept of, if you don't like something, fix it. What do you think?
I think that particularly with this dilemma, she needs to you need to choose like whether you want you want to focus on your appearance or your general health, right? So for example, if she were to just say, look, I just want to be healthier, that speaks to, like what you're eating. If you're being active, you don't necessarily have to go to the gym. And I think it's good enough to have a healthy lifestyle than to look skinny or to look like, you've got like a flat belly or whatever the case is. Like, I think what's important, and I'm speaking also from my perspective and for myself, like I value being a healthy individual as opposed to being like a gym bunny, like just doing it for the sake of, well, I want people to notice that, my waist is wasting or whatever. Like, so what I would say to her is, I think you need to decide whether you want to pursue like a healthy lifestyle, and if that's the case, then just do that and focus on that. And once you have a healthy lifestyle and a healthy mindset, you're not worried about what people say about your appearance, because I'm taking care of my body the best way that I can.
I also think she needs to, even at the size that she is, whatever size you are, I don't know, ma'am, but sometimes, body dysmorphia really gets to you, right? She keeps saying that she's bigger for her height. And I don't know what that means, because I'm a short girl, so in my mind, I'm like, nobody ever said, because I'm short, I must be skinny, or because you're tall, you must be skinny either, right?
Remember, she's talking about like her BMI, because isn't that the weight versus height and age thing?
Yeah.
It sounds like a story that she's been told or is either telling herself to say that I'm too big for my height.
That's what it sounds like. And I feel like the problem also with doing things like gym, your weight does not stay the same, right? And it will move up and down even if you are going to gym, right? If you understand, for example, your own cycle, right? Your menstrual cycle. There are points in the month that you're heavier than when you are other points in your life, right? And if you focus on what it says on the scale, what the inches look like, all of that, you will definitely always be heartbroken, because we will never meet what it is, the goal that you're trying to reach. And then also, like Chido said, if you are healthy enough, I think health does not equal skinny. Fitness does not equal skinny, right? There are times where, like, I've seen videos, for example, where there'll be bigger girls than me doing actual backflips and doing all these fun things that I know I can never do, and I'm smaller. Right? Like, they're more flexible, they're fit. They're fit. Like, body movement, they have more body movement than me, but they're bigger. So what does that mean? Right? And then also, I just wanted to say, I definitely think she needs a bit of therapy. Because if she loves her body the way that she is, no matter how it goes up and down, she will always just love herself. But if you put so much pressure on the weight and how your thighs look and the cellulite and all of that, you'll never get to the point where you just love yourself. Love yourself in all the various weights. Yeah?
Yeah. I think that brings us to this dilemma links very perfectly to what we wanted to talk about today anyway, which is like, what are the standards of beauty in Zim or for Africans, and even just talking about body image issues. I think, Kuna, the other day you were talking about how you had seen an advert for people who were, what was it, BBL pills or whatever? What was that, Kuna?
Those were butt shots.
Oh, butt shots.
Yeah.
Tell us.
So there's this lady that I know who is now doing butt shots in Zim somewhere. And
Hit us up if you want the details.
anyway, so she's doing butt shots for about, so it's $100 per shot, but like on both cheeks, right?
What is a butt shot?
And what's in the shot?
I don't know what's in the
And
shot.
what does the shot do?
The shot makes your bum look bigger.
Looks
That's
bigger, or like it plumps it up,
It
or
plumps
what?
it up. It's like I don't want to say silicone because that's surgery, but it's like an injection.
So
that
it's
she
like
puts
fit.
in.
You know how they put
Like a filler.
fillers? So it's like a butt
It's
filler.
like a butt filler. That's
So with what?
exactly it
Collagen?
is. I don't know what she uses. So I know she gets the stuff from China. So I can't tell you. I can't tell you what's in it. I don't know the ingredients of it. I just know
always-
the $100 per shot.
I always think of that Four Colored Girls storyline. I don't know if you guys have watched the movie Four Colored Girls.
Traumatic.
So like that.
I think so. I've never seen her do it. She told me about it, and I said, "Thank you, ma'am." And then that was weird.
I recently got a sponsored ad on Instagram, and I went to, why am I seeing this ad? And it said, because I'm in the demographic of female between the ages of, I think it was 18 to 30 something.
So that's what the
So
18
that's
and 30.
that's the target market.
That's the target market.
Wow.
There's a lot to unpack with that.
Because you know what? Like, there's been chats about socialites in Harare going to get BBLs. You know, I won't name names, but like, there's people who, if you just scroll through their Instagram, you're just like, was her bum like this? I mean, like, it's not my place, obviously, to be like investigating these things, but it's like,
But then there's also
what's happening?
The same lady also does skin coloring, skin bleaching.
Those things where they like dilute your melanin basically.
Yes. So she also has an injection, also that that bleaches you from the inside. So you know, normally with like
Yeah.
creams, you bleach unevenly, but because it's on the inside,
In your bloodstream.
yeah.
Or
They put a syringe, ne? And then they
yeah,
it's
is
like a drip.
it intravenous or it's like under the what is
I don't
it like?
I don't know. I just know that she injects you and then you bleach from the inside so you have an even tone. That's the point.
Whitening IV drips are a skin whitening treatment that involves administering high doses of substances such as vitamin C and glutathione directly into the bloodstream through an IV. These treatments are marketed as a fast, effective way to achieve a lighter skin tone. That is from Google.
Like my thing is like why do people want to get lighter? Like what is that? Why?
Because it's desirable. That's the. Because it's desirable. In Zimbabwe, so many people have actually done that. We've moved from where people were using those creams from Zambia and they were banned and all of that. And people were using those pills to enlarge their hips. If you recall, that was like a few years ago.
Yeah.
So it's just advancing.
Appetito.
Now, so we're now just advancing. We've moved on from the less safer looking ones. IVF while you sip on some coffee or whatever, and we're giving you injections in the back room. But people have been doing this.
Can I go back to bashing social media now? I think that in this world of influencing, right? I don't know. I'm gonna ask a male voice whether or not it is more desirable. I don't know, but I think for us girls, when you're looking at, say, down south, right, which is a lot where the influences are, right, particularly in Africa, you have your Faiths, your Mishlalis, all those people. They're light skinned. And they have small waists and big hips and big bums and, you know, all these fun things,
And
right?
that's not our typical Zimbabwean
That's not the
woman
Zimbabwean
body.
look. That's not how we look. And then you go, I don't know if Botswana is east, west, wherever.
It's somewhere.
Wherever Botswana is, that's the same aesthetic, right? Small waist, big bums, light skin. So if you're thinking, these are, I don't know, competition, quote unquote, or this is what gets me the brand deals, this is what gets me
The man.
the man, whatever it is that you're searching for, if it's the money or the men, or both. If that's the aesthetic, you're going to do what you have to do to get those things, right? And the only reason we even know that is because of Instagram. Thanks.
I think it's something that predates Instagram. Every society, every generation, every time period has a certain standard of beauty that's attached to women. Not only women, but even when we talk about skin lightening, that is across communities, even in Asian communities, fairer skin seems to get you ahead in life, whether it's amongst men or whatever, going into race. That's just a way of the world type of thing. So can we really blame people who go to these lengths to achieve access? To me, I'd call it a certain kind of privilege that society has attached to certain traits like fairer skin and I guess at this time a certain body type. But I mean, even the person who's speaking seems to be coming from an era where skinny was it. And now, because she already developed those insecurities at that time, even when people say now that, no, you are attractive, she doesn't believe it because she's stuck in that era of what's desirable. So I think it's more of this thing of us, one, being made to seek desirability as sort of making you feel like a person or good about yourself, and two, who decides. So I don't know, the male voice is very quiet about this question, but I'm also curious to say, and because I feel like men are also just jumping into the same script that has been fed them.
Yeah.
I think, first of all, a lot of people are not happy with the way they look. And an interesting trend is if you look at with this emergence of AI, a lot of people have like AI versions of themselves that look different from what they look like. So I think it's now just a general unhappiness because of seeing a lot of people's best versions of themselves on social media. So you're like, I have to look this way, I have to, smile this way, my skin should be looking this way. As a dude, I can only speak for myself and maybe some patterns I've seen. There's always going to be preferences, but I feel like at some point it does become a bit toxic when certain narratives like, because someone is dark-skinned, they're less of a person and we can't pursue them. And I do admit that, like, sometimes men can be very crass about that and, like, actually drive people to having to take these appetitos and etc. But at the end of the day, it's definitely social media. It's definitely esteem issues, unaddressed traumas, things like that. There's a lot that plays into it. I don't think it's one specific thing. I think it's just like piling on as, we develop as a human race.
But also, I want to talk about like a little bit of a double standard here. How is it that when people are looking for men, tall, dark, and handsome is the norm, right? What is that? What's that saying? The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Yeah.
Right? So even amongst, like you're saying, even amongst the Caucasians, the tanner you are, like more tan, more dark looking, right? That's the desirable. But when it comes to women, the lighter you are is more desirable. And I don't understand how we got there, because then if dark is nice, then dark should be dark for everybody. If light is light, light should be light for everybody. But also understanding that we've also gone through an evolution where like light skinned boys was like the thing, and then it changed to dark skinned boys, right? And then similarly, skinny girls, right? If you remember, like all the supermodels had to be 0, right? And then it shifted to, we need models that are more curvy. And then they started getting black people to come in. But even then, it was like, be curvy, but be skinny. Right? So even the evolution, I don't even think as a society we've agreed on what is desirable. I think we sort of just are going with the flow, because then what happens, right? Now I've bleached my skin. 2 years from now, only dark girls are beautiful. What do I do now?
Then you tan.
Stop using it.
Hi.
I remember seeing a video online as well about it was a Nigerian lady who was talking about, I'll never leave the house without wearing my wig or without like wearing makeup, and she was like, I don't understand women who do that, like, why don't you love yourself enough if you don't like carry yourself in a certain way, if your hair is not done in a certain way, if your eyebrows are not, done in a certain way. Like, it feels almost like you need to have certain things. You need to have a Brazilian weave. You need to have your face beat to the gods every day. And and you need to just, I don't know, like, there's so many expectations placed on women and women's beauty that, like, for some of us, because I don't even own a wig, and I hardly wear makeup, but it feels like, do I even fit into that, bracket? Because all these women are saying, oh, for you to be a beautiful young lady, you need to have this, that, and the other. Like, why? And do you guys agree with that?
I'm going back to contradiction, because again, the men will say, oh, I like my woman natural. What does that mean now? Because if you want a girl who doesn't wear makeup, who rocks a fro and doesn't wear weaves, you want that. But the person you choose, #date your type, but the person that you choose is not that person. And then you want to make that person into the natural girl. So also, I feel men lie, because then they tell us that they want natural, you give them natural, but they still go find the baddie who's beat to the gods and then try to change that girl into the natural girl that they want. But you just left a natural girl because she just was not attractive to you enough.
Oh, he'll wife the natural girl, but then he'll have the side chick
Who's a baddie.
Agree?
Wow, what an amazing conversation. Hey, look, I feel like some of these things also come from traditional media. Not even social media, even movies. It's like, okay, the casting, you can see there was an intentionality about trying to train people on, like, okay, these are the beauty standards. So maybe in a group of boys, they're going like, hey, you know what, light skin. I think I saw a tweet where a lady was complaining that, like, when black men become successful, they go from liking the natural look to the more, I guess, makeup, etc.
To the baddie.
Yeah, to the baddie. And I think it's just like traditional media, and I don't know. I think that's just where we're at now as a society. I don't think it's right. I don't condone it. I feel like people shouldn't be that shallow, but
they are.
They are. But and this also goes to guys, because like short guys, I've talked to a lot of short guys, and they're like, nah. It's like it's tough out here.
Really?
Short guys, receding hairlines. It's a thing. Like, it's a thing. It's now going both ways.
Oh, shame. I kind of feel bad.
Oh, shoot me.
Yeah. For the short kings.
That's exactly it. I think
That's
the point
exactly
is made. The point is made.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you also have to ask yourself who you're doing it for.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important question, because if naturally I like makeup, I like wigs, I like beating my face every day, and I'm doing it for myself and not for male attention or female attention, because I think a lot of times also men think women get dressed for them and we don't. Probably I'm getting dressed for another female, right? Just so she can see how I look. So I also feel sometimes when you're doing it for attention, you then definitely develop a lot of body dysphoria. Dysmorphia. And then it really then goes back to, you can't either, you stop posting because you don't feel like you look good enough. For example, on your own Instagram, on your own phone, you won't post because you don't think people will like it, or you're now questioning whether people will like you as you. So then you use the filters, or you crop things, or you change things, because you're trying to make other people not happy, but you're trying to give a perception of yourself that's not real, just because of societal pressure. But if you're doing it for yourself, and if you are a natural girl for yourself, if you are a baddie for yourself, and you like yourself the way that you look, obviously, like we said in the beginning, you can change things about yourself that you don't like. I wouldn't recommend the extreme cosmetic surgeries, but what you can do in the gym if you can. But if it's just for health even, you can get a bigger bump in the gym. You can get a smaller waist in the gym.
It takes time.
It does take time.
To wake up tomorrow with a big bump.
On that thing about cosmetic surgery, I'm on the line about things that are more, when someone has a noticeably different feature. So sometimes it's either one, your breasts are like really, really, really large. I know so many people who have done reductions, and that seems to be taken a bit better because they're like, oh, well, she's lightening her backload, and they feel so much better about themselves afterwards. I've seen so many pre-post people, especially influencers, who are like really like life transformed after that. I've also seen someone who had like a really like noticeably large nose do a nose surgery and feel a lot better about it afterwards. And I don't know, I think at some point it becomes unavoidable to say, if someone really wants to feel good about themselves, we can't dictate what that means for them. It goes wrong with when it becomes a bit more superficial, like butt lifting. But then who's to say that that's superficial and that's okay and that's acceptable? Because even if I decide to go to the gym for 9 months and squat a booty, am I really better off than the person who went and got fillers? And who's to say?
Yeah, I think I'm also on the line, but I think I lean towards, if you want to get some sort of cosmetic surgery because you genuinely feel like it would make you feel better, I think go for it. Just make sure that it's not the dangerous things you've been talking about. Like, don't get fillers where you don't know the origins, or it's in some back room or whatever. If you really want to get a boob job, save for it and get it, because you know that it's going to make me feel some type of way. I feel like it's the same thing men do with beards and women do with makeup. You can't really judge someone to say, okay, she went and got a BBL. What if that's the way she's going to make money for the next 10 years? It had to be done, guys. It's an investment. It had to be done.
Yeah.
So, I feel like I can't even say I wouldn't do plastic surgery because I don't know. I feel like if I had the money, y'all might find me with a, I don't know, BBL. But I feel like
I'm imagining that.
BBL, baby.
I think, to be honest, it still boils down to why you're doing it.
Why?
If it makes you happy, do it.
Then go ahead.
But if you're doing it for somebody else, then leave it alone.
I don't think there's a fair way to truly separate those things. But because it's just no chance. Because like let's talk about the monetary aspect of it. I've learned that it's a realistic thing, especially in business. The way that you look says so much about you and will determine a lot about what's going to be afforded to you. Pretty privilege, that's a real thing. It's a psychological thing. It's just a reality of life. So if you are working at a societal disadvantage, in quotation marks, I don't think it's fair for people who might not be in the same, who be in your shoes, to even judge or to say that don't do X, Y, Z. I mean, it's a procedure already. It's either going to go right or go wrong. But I mean, look at people who've made a living off things like that. Look at Nicki, look at Kylie Jenner. Say what you will, but those people are in their bag at the end of the day. And it's because of that. So,
do you, boo?
Do you?
I actually just wanted to say one more point that speaks to the dilemma we read. And it was, I just saw something that was speaking about, parental influence is really important in terms of how we view ourselves and like, am I beautiful the way I am or whatever. And I think it stems from that, like, if there are any listeners out there who have kids or whatever, I think it's important that you continuously tell your daughter, I think you're so beautiful, like reinforce that positive body image from a young age. I think it's important to do that. Even for us, like moving forward, if we ever have kids or whatever, I think it's important to build a society that has a positive body image or whatever, because it's a tough world out there, and you need to kind of be confident and happy in your skin.
And also just on that, psychology says that the most influential parent is the same-sex parent, right? So for girls, the most influential parent is the mother. And obviously vice versa for the boys. So if the mother is also not reinforcing that for her, and say maybe her dad says, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so nice, she's going to go look for men to tell her she's so beautiful, she's so nice, because then she will cut out all the women think like her mom. And to try to get, not satisfaction, but seeking encouragement from the opposite sex will really, it's not always a good idea.
Any last words, everybody?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that let's be a bit more compassionate to the people, like, for example, like people battling with albinism, right? Some people are very unkind. I've seen many interactions where people are just like blatantly unkind, so just to be more conscious, to call out, situations like that as they happen, and then for men, something that wasn't mentioned here was also, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but like size of manhood and stuff like that. It's an actual thing. It's like guys actually sit down and it's like, it's an issue.
A measuring contest.
Not really a measuring contest,
it's literally a measuring contest.
Yeah. So there's always all these theories that women love this size or that size, and there are some brothers out there who aren't endowed like that, and it's a very tough existence because they'll be like, yo, it's hectic, Then there's some who are over endowed. There's a lot.
Oh snap! Now I understand why in I think it's First Street or something, you see like those old ladies with like soil-looking things in plastic bags, and they're like, "This is for your manhood. Take this to help you out." Ooh. Okay, guys. So also like look for other safer options as the men, please.
Because they end up using performance-enhancing drugs while they're young. I know young men who use like stuff which they don't need to be using for their age, just to up their game. You know.
Like
so
what?
The pills are there.
And those sessions with the weird mushonga.
Well, I don't know about those. Those are next level. But yeah, along those lines.
What this is making me realize is that, like, I mean, body image issues, I've always viewed them from a female perspective. Like, oh, woe is me. You know, I always have to be skinny. Da 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 da. And I'm just deeping now, like, guys seem to have it rough. Like,
I think
It's
it's actually worse.
to be a guy.
Guys, there's some things you can't change. Like, can't change your anatomy like that.
Yeah. And if you just look at social media, the way like guys
But
get
I mean,
clowned
hands are changing
about it.
their bums, guys.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
This is
But it's a tricky chat.
This is deep. Anyway, thank you for listening. See you next week.